Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk a little bit about Russell Brand and what's been going on with him. So if you don't know, he has been accused of SA, among other things. And so Russell came back with a video on X, which was formerly known as Twitter, and he's talking about how the mainstream media is out to get him because he's been speaking up against them for years now, and he's gotten too close to the truth, so now they're making up lies about him. Now I feel like it's a lot of people's favorite defense is not even just like they have no proof that they didn't do it, which I mean, to be fair, it is really hard to prove something like SA or to disprove SA. But it's a really easy excuse to be like, oh, everybody's out to get me. It's a witch hunt, which is ironic because these are people that historically never would have been targeted by a witch hunt, and they seem to love to throw that phrase around. But it just really bothers me that he's saying this. I don't know if these claims are true. I'm not gonna go into that in this video because I don't know. Obviously, like I've always said, I believe the victims, and I do, but for legal reasons, I'm not gonna really get into the claims or if they're true or not, but I believe them to be true. But
Makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream media didn't approve of, and we saw a spate of headlines from media outlets across the world using the same language. I'm aware that you guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth, Russell Brand did not kill himself. I know that a year ago there was a spate of articles, Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist, Russell Brand's right wing. I'm aware of news media making phone calls, sending letters to people I know for ages and ages.
Another thing I wanted to mention was his ex-wife, Katy Perry, who I'm sure everybody knows. She, when they first got divorced, said she had something on him that she's saving for a rainy day. Now, a lot of news outlets are reporting this now, being like, oh, maybe this has to do with the essays, maybe maybe she knows something. If it's anything that serious that she knows, and she's saving it for a rainy day, so that when it's convenient for her, she can come out with it, that's really messed up. Because if you have evidence or knowledge of anything he's done that's something like that, not like, oh, he cheated on me, because ultimately, like, that's between them, and even though it is shitty to cheat on people, it's not something that, like, you should warn other people about. But if she knew about SA or anything along those lines, and she was saving it for a rainy day, even though it's not her fault he's done this, I would still think she's not a great person for doing that. But again, I don't know what she has on him, so it could be something like cheating, in which case I'd be like, okay, fine. But if it is anything about the SA allegations, it's not fine. I just want to also talk about a lot of the rhetoric going on that I've seen on social media. I've seen a lot of people comment on his video, and I mean, granted, most of the people who are gonna comment on his video are his supporters and other people who like what he has to say. He's very conservative, in my opinion. He was very vocal during the early parts of the pandemic in like saying this was all a lie to get people to get the vaccine and this and that, and it's being used for like mind control. I don't know his whole narrative, but it was along those lines. And so I've seen a lot of people on his social media writing things like, oh, obviously he wouldn't have to say anyone because women were throwing themselves at him. And to this, I would like to say this is one of our biggest issues in society, is we think that SA is about attraction or wanting like a specific person, so then you do that. No, SA is about power. It's not about how attractive someone is, and that's why when people say things like, oh, well, you're lucky he even gave you that attention, that's bullshit, because people that SA other people ultimately are trying to exert power over them. And that's why it doesn't matter whether they're attracted to someone or whether they could get anybody they wanted, which is non-existent, because there's no such thing as being able to get anybody you want, because no matter what, there's other people in the world with free will, and if they don't want to be with you, they don't have to. But it just bothers me that people are saying things like, oh, of course he wouldn't have done this because he wouldn't have had to. That is why people like Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis are in denial about Danny Masterson, because they think like, oh, like, this couldn't be the person I know. He had everything he wanted. He was a great person. When really, people can have secret lives we don't know about. And I think that is why this is an important conversation to have. Another thing I saw people writing is, why are these people accusing Russell Brand of doing this, going to the media and not the police? And it's like, have you not been paying attention? The police typically don't listen to people when they say they've been SA'd, and also doing the R-kit, RAPE kit is very invasive, and for a lot of people, it feels like being violated for a second time. So that is why a lot of people who've been SA'd don't go to the police, because the only real way to gather evidence is to do that. And that is a very invasive process, and also a lot of times victims get victim blamed. Like, well, what were you wearing? Were you drinking? Like, did you flirt with him? When it's like, it doesn't matter. No matter what, someone doesn't get to SA you just because you were flirting or spending time with them or wearing something considered provocative. I just feel like seeing this on social media reminds me of how many misconceptions are still out there. And even if I run in spaces where people understand these things and we know and we fight against it, they're still out there. So that is why we need to continue talking about this, because there are still people that will just blame victims and be like, oh, well, if if this really happened, why didn't you go to the police? Like, because the police typically will just not investigate it or not believe you or make you feel even more invalidated or objectified, and that isn't something people want when they're trying to get help. So that's about all I had to say today. If you have any thoughts, please leave them down below. But again, nothing victim blaming or anything of the sort. It will get deleted, I promise you. So do it at your own risk, because that's a waste of time. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you learned something, please give this a big thumbs up. And if you have not already and you would like to see more of my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. And again, thank you for watching. Bye.